Kimi Räikkönen has won this Belgian Grand Prix, leading home a very convincing Ferrari 1-2, and Lewis Hamilton's fourth place behind his teammate Fernando Alonso means that his World Championship lead is now down to just 2 points. But Mark, a week ago we were applauding a McLaren 1-2 at Monza. What makes the difference week on week, circuit to circuit? Why were Ferrari so strongly with the advantage today?
Just purely, I think, because the Ferrari just suited this circuit in terms of its longer wheelbase car. It's a lot more stable in the higher speed corners, which so much of this track is built up of. And the consistency, it used its tyres more efficiently, and their outright performance was there to see. And McLaren definitely struggling with this race.
But McLaren looked close in qualifying. They come here and tested very positively indeed. How much did this surprise you?
I think it's a bit of a surprise that the performance gap was so big during the race. Qualifying's a different situation, Steve. You know, just one lap put together, the driver can hang it all out there. Fuel levels come into play at the beginning of the race there, consistency with the tyres, and that just showed that Ferrari's much stronger. And I think that will be quite evident the next couple of races as well.
The start, the two McLarens on the second row, and if Lewis Hamilton had any doubts that he's in a battle with Alonso for the title, this convinced him.
Well, I'll tell you something, this was a little bit harsh in some ways, just watching Alonso push his teammate out there, but he had no other option in many respects because he locked up just going into the source hairpin. Lewis gets squeezed out to the left-hand side, still gains traction, but at the same time he drags himself into contention with his teammate. Almost looks like they touch there. And as they go down into Eau Rouge, they're side by side. They're pulling about 165, 170 miles an hour here. And all of a sudden you see the shadow pop in there of Alonso's car. Bang, in they go side by side. Great driving by the pair of them. A lot of confidence. A lot of respect for each other, but you know, no battle there between them two.
And it was aggressive from Alonso's point of view. Was it fair?
I think it was fair. Yeah, definitely. You know, he could lean on him and vice versa, and I think at the end of the day it showed the skills of both of them. But yeah, fair driving.
And then Lewis Hamilton really couldn't match the pace through the course of the rest of the race. Was lucky towards the end as he went off at Pouhon.
He was trying to have that last push at the end of the race there, trying to close that gap down to Alonso. Just slipped off the road. Fortunately, now we've got so much runoff, he can put himself back on the track again. But it's a worry for me that Lewis is slightly off the pace, and we saw it in Italy last weekend, a little bit here as well. Maybe the pressure's just starting to get to him.
So you sensing that Alonso has the championship advantage, maybe?
I think Alonso's been in this position before. Lewis is the rookie. All the pressure's starting to build on his shoulders now. Alonso's got nothing to lose, and that kind of shows. But bit by bit, he's breaking him down. 1 point less than what it started this weekend.
Alonso would be pretty satisfied with what he achieved today. He was reasonably impressive during the course of this race. What are your thoughts about the way he's performed this weekend, given all the pressures that are around him?
Again, I think, you know, there's so much been going on during this weekend that both McLaren drivers have handled themselves well, but Alonso will be seriously concerned about the performance of Ferrari more than anything. He'll be happy to close down that, you know, advantage with Lewis Hamilton only to 2 points. But I think he's concerned about the red car's pace.
Absolutely. It's been Ferrari's day, and certainly Kimi Räikkönen is right back in the battle for this Drivers' Championship. Reliability is the key for McLaren. But what are the thoughts at the end of this Belgian Grand Prix of the McLaren boss, Ron Dennis? We can hear from him now.
Well, Ron, quite possibly the dullest race I've seen for a very long time. Tell us about your feelings, your assessment of how your two drivers fought it out at the start.
Oh, absolutely fine. They weren't too aggressive, and they're racing drivers. I mean, that's what they do, and you know, no one would blink it if it was opposing teams and they didn't touch each other and they're a bit aggressive. But you know, that's motor racing, no problem.
Gave you a few nervous moments, though.
No, you get used to it in the end, and it's two cars home again. You know, it's a 100% record getting the cars home, so you know, a little bit closer for Fernando to Lewis on the World Championship, but I mean, we've got a great World Championship, and I'm looking forward to the last 3 races.
Yeah, well, us too. Fernando just seemed 1/10, maybe 2/10 quicker than Lewis this weekend.
Well, actually, Lewis was quicker in the first and the last sector. Fernando had him in the middle a little bit, so differential wasn't that much, you know, so the strategies were slightly different. We gave them every opportunity. We used all the engine life, and so I'm pleased that nothing silly came out of the race and no controversy, and it's great to see them both leading, you know, pretty close to the World Championship. So let's move to motor racing next 3 Grand Prix.
He's smiling. A tough weekend is behind him.
Very tough weekend indeed. Probably one of the toughest he's had in his Grand Prix career as a team principal. But, you know, he has to say the things what he said there, and I think he's right. There was fair driving between these two guys. They were on the second cycle, the engines. Maybe that's what held them back a little bit more than what Ferrari had there in terms of advantage. But he knows also that, you know, he pretty much got a good caning.
But Kimi Raikkonen's victory today, when a driver comes here to Spa and wins 3 times, what does it say about a driver's talent?
I think it just shows, the talent to go around here in a circuit like this and to be flawless with the performance as well. He led off, didn't get put into the background with any other person whatsoever. And at that point, he shows his class. And I think, to be honest with you, again, we've seen Kimi with Ferrari. They've gelled together now. He just needed a little bit more of a stronger result earlier on in the season, because I'm definitely would be in contention of the World Championship.
OK, we will hear from the winner of this Belgian Grand Prix in the press conference in just a few minutes' time. We'll be right back here at Spa.
Kimi, from the pole, it looked like a perfect day for you. You were worried before the race, perhaps a little bit about your neck and also about a vibration or feeling at the rear of the car in qualifying, but it looked to be perfect.
Yeah, I think so. Not really any issues during the race. Only place is sometimes when you came up to lap some people was pretty difficult, because in here is pretty low downforce, so we seems to lose a lot of grip. So it was bit hard to get past people, but it's same for everybody. But apart from that, the car was very good. Everything went well, and was a nice race.
And the neck and the problem with the rear of the car?
We never found anything, so probably it was in my head. So the neck is okay. It's not perfect, but this is definitely okay. And for sure, the next race is gonna be like normal. So it's no worries, and it was perfect thing for the team. 1-2, and they did everything right today.
It is amazing how quickly things have turned around from Monza. Only a week ago, a very tough race against McLaren Mercedes, but dominant here in the Ardennes.
Yeah, we knew that we're gonna be much stronger here than we were in Monza. We know the reasons why we cannot challenge them in the circuits like Monaco, Monza, Montreal. We try to fix that problem for next year. Hopefully we can, and then we should be pretty strong. This is more to do with the aerodynamics, and our car is strong on that area. So any circuits like this is going to be okay for us.
Congratulations to you, Kimi.
Thanks.
Congratulations to you too, Felipe. A great Ferrari 1-2. Talk us through the early laps. Obviously, you were behind Kimi there. How did your two cars compare? What sort of shape were you in at that point?
Well, I had a very good start, so I went sideways to Kimi, but the corner was a little bit in favor of him, and but I managed to have a good line as well. But then I think I started with maybe too much front wing. The car was pretty oversteer in the first stint. The second stint was pretty good. We could manage to keep the same margin from the beginning to the end of the run. And then in the end, the car was just perfect on the soft tire. So it was just maybe a little bit wrong choice looking how the track improved. But anyway, I mean, we just know now. I mean, in the beginning, we need to take some risk. But I think the race was pretty good. The car was pretty quick, consistent. And I think we did a very good pace compared to McLaren's.
So what you're suggesting is that perhaps you could have run a longer stint on the softer tyres?
Well, in the end, it was not a very long stint, but the tyre was pretty okay to run, so it was more grip, so it was better.
Well, you obviously handled the defence against McLaren Mercedes. What was it like in the early laps in terms of any pressure or not from Fernando?
No, I just had a little bit of mist of grip in the first lap, and I saw Fernando very close, but then it was just the car was so good, so it was okay to pull the gap and just starting to build the gap for the next stop.
Congratulations, and setting fastest race lap as well. Fernando, a very aggressive first corner and run up to Eau Rouge there against your teammate Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, first corner, Felipe locked the front tire a little bit, and I was blocking the inside, and I had no space, so I had a bad exit from turn 1. I think also Luis went wide at the exit of turn 1, so he took a little bit of advantage running in the tire mark. But yeah, we arrived wheel by wheel into turn 3, 4. But I was lucky to be on the inside and to keep the position there.
You got a good run down inside him, down the hill into Eau Rouge on slightly lighter fuel. But for a minute there, it looked as if neither of you were going to give way.
Yeah, but in this occasion I was quite confident and happy with my position into that corner. So I was not too worried, and as you said, I have one lap less fuel than him, so I knew that my car in the first stint should be quick enough.
Did you actually touch with Lewis as he came back onto the track?
No.
And then the race against the Ferraris, they quickly disappeared. What was it like from your point of view? Where did they seem to be quicker, and how hard or not was your race as a result?
I think they were too quick for us today, and I tried quite hard in the first stint to keep the pace with Felipe, just hoping around the pit stop time to make the position, but slowly they were disappearing, and after the first stop for sure we didn't see them anymore. So we lack a little bit of pace in the race. We were quite okay in quali, but for sure in the race, couple of tenths we were a little bit off pace today.
But the feeling seemed to be in your team that although you were right there in qualifying, you would be in good shape for the race, or was that what you were just saying at the time?
No, we thought so, and I think we improved from the last time. Maybe in Turkey, it was no possibility at all to fight with them today. Okay, they were quicker than us, but maybe we reduced a little bit the gap. Still a long way to work, but there will come circuits now that maybe suit our car a little bit better. So I think we still have possibilities to win the race from now on.
And Fernando Alonso has certainly reduced the gap on his teammate in that Drivers' Championship by a single point. Hamilton now leading by just 2, and Kimi Raikkonen 13 points off Hamilton's lead. Felipe Massa in 4th. You'd have to feel Mark is pretty well out of it now. But what do you see as his role, his potential supporting role for Kimi Raikkonen?
He's got to support Kimi, and he's got to take points away from those McLarens, because he needs to make sure that there's a big gap between Kimi if he's getting the job done and the McLarens trying to score those podium positions at least. But really, the way you look at it, it needs to have McLaren having some major problems in the next couple of races, and maybe even defaulting in terms of point scoring. Ferrari can come strong then, but I don't know. I'm a little bit disagreeing with Alonso. I think Ferrari's next couple of Grand Prix will be strong. I think the circuits will suit them more.
Yeah, 3 races to go. We're in Japan and then heading for China, and then it's the finale in Brazil, and it's Lewis Hamilton who has the World Championship lead into these last 3 races. Slim lead, just those 2 points, and let's hear from Lewis right now.
Lewis, the car, you just don't seem to have had the usual sparkle that you had. The car just doesn't seem to have been working as well for you this weekend as it has at some of the other tracks. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not really sure what it is, but the car didn't feel too bad, but I wasn't able to gain time or improve my lap time throughout the race. We need to figure out what that is and if we can improve, but we still got points, which is the most important thing. I think it's down to 2 points now? It's not over, so we just got to keep going. It's getting close, but I'm going to be very, very aggressive in the next couple of races. So,
how much does that 2-point margin worry you?
It doesn't worry me. It's just it's when you're in the car and you know you're better than what you're doing, and you can't go any faster. If you push, then you lose time. So all you can do is sit back and watch the opposition move away from you.
But how can you be confident that you're not going to have that issue at the races that we've got coming up? Tracks at which, on paper at least, Ferrari should be quite dominant.
Possibly. I'm not really too bothered at Ferrari. I think they're a bit out of the picture, to be honest. Okay, they won today, they did a good job. But for me, it's to beat Fernando. So in the next race, no one knows this circuit. I'm very, very much a fast learner, so I think we should be very good over there. And in the last 2, I think I've heard they're good tracks and ones that I should adapt to quite well, so I'm looking forward to it.
How would you sum up the weekend?
Okay. Could be better, but no. We need to improve.
Thanks, Liz.
Well, Lewis rather dismissive of Ferrari there, but certainly aware of the challenge of Fernando Alonso, as so he should, because he would feel now that Alonso's got some real momentum behind him in this championship run-in.
Yeah, I think so. I think the last race in Italy, this race today, Lewis had just been a little bit off colour in terms, that performance what we've seen throughout the season. Alonso's picking up on it, and he's definitely strong. Also, you know, as I said, nobody knows the next race, which is Fuji, power circuit. Should suit Ferrari again. You've got Shanghai again, I think will suit Ferrari as well. Lewis, Brazil, he doesn't know these tracks. Alonso does. He will go there with confidence even more so.
Okay, but reliability is the key from the McLaren point of view. If they can bring those two cars home in the top 3, top 4, then Ferrari are out of the picture.
I think that you're right. If that can be achieved, and I think that's a strong case. McLaren have had no reliability issues. Ferrari, we've seen actually a few times with Massa especially having those problems. It will be a foregone conclusion. But again, Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, that's the big fight, and that's what we've got to worry about. And I'm a little bit worried for Lewis. It's just creeping up on him.
Okay, let's go to Ted Kravitz for more reaction on today's events.
Well, Stefano, well done. Absolute whitewash. You managed to beat them. A great comeback from Ferrari. What's the feeling in the team?
Man, as you can imagine, we are very, very happy. I mean, today was important to answer on the track after not a great weekend we had at home. So we said we need to work. We know that the car is there. The team is working pretty well. So we just need to stay concentrated and fight up to the end. We know McLaren is very strong, no doubt. But if we put that kind of pressure, we will see at the end of the Grand Prix.
You told the drivers to turn down the engines after the second stops to save the engines. Does that mean Felipe is effectively out of the championship now?
Not at all. I mean, what we need to consider is today was a great response from all the team, and then we will see what will be our approach. Up to now, we don't have to change anything.
Thank you.
Ferrari today certainly confirmed as Constructors' champions. Is that in any way a hollow success given the way it's arrived at their door?
I mean, there's several ways of looking at it. You know, whether Ferrari got there on merit, well, maybe not, because McLaren were achieving that, and they've had the points taken away, so Ferrari take up the mantle. But more importantly, you know, they're saying that maybe Massa's not out of the World Championship. Well, I think he is a little bit with them, because even today you saw him catching up with Raikkonen towards the end of the race, and obviously they just put a little bit of a hold on him, saying, here you go, you got to sit back and let Raikkonen take the win here. So for me, I think he's been told that maybe things are up for him in this championship.
And it has been such a tough second half of the season for Felipe Massa, in the same way as it has been for Lewis as well.
Yeah, but I think Massa's had some reliability problems, and a couple of times he's been in the back of the grid even and had to fight his way through, and he hasn't quite got there, and he's missed out on some valuable points, which will be critical at this stage of the season.
Okay, more thoughts on what's happened today and what might lie ahead in the last 3 races of the season in a few minutes' time, but let's give you a chance on the ITV F1 competition first of all.
This weekend we're giving away a fantastic trip for 2 to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix on the 7th of October. You'll have return flights and 4 nights accommodation in an executive room at the Hilton Shanghai. The hotel's set in the heart of the city's entertainment centre and is within walking distance of the main business and shopping districts. Once you get to the track, you'll also have grandstand seats to watch all the action, an official merchandise bag, plus an exclusive tour of the McLaren Mercedes garage. So to be in with a chance of winning this great prize, courtesy of Hilton Racing, here's the question from the world champion.
Who was the last driver to win for McLaren the World Championship? A. Michael Schumacher. B. Jacques Villeneuve. C. Mika Häkkinen. Good luck.
Nice one, Fernando. So that question again, who was the last driver to win the World Championship for McLaren? A. Michael Schumacher, B. Jacques Villeneuve, or C. Mika Häkkinen? The number to dial 0901 293 2020 or text F1 plus your answer of A, B or C to 63337. Calls cost £1 per entry from a BT landline. Calls from other networks and mobiles may be higher. Text will also cost £1 plus the standard network rate. You must be 18 or over to enter. Cable and satellite viewers can press the red button, and lines close 6 p.m. Tuesday 25th of September.
Good luck with that. We've had Kimi Raikkonen, an outstanding winner of this Belgian Grand Prix this afternoon. Other impressive performances, though, back down the field, and Martin selected Mark Webber as his driver of the day.
Yeah, he did select him, and I think it was a valid selection, because Mark drove very well throughout the whole race. And the Red Bull is not the most competitive car in the world. You see he pulls a fantastic move on Kovalainen. Kovalainen on a one-stop strategy with the Renault, but again, Webber just pulling through, clean move. I think Mark's been daunted with a bit of bad luck throughout this season. I think this is deserved.
David Coulthard dropped out, so too did Jenson Button, but once again after seeing the frustration of being passed by last year's Honda, Takuma Sato.
Yeah, not easy for Jenson Button to swallow that. I mean, this is basically the car that he was driving last year in many ways. And you see Sato just toes up behind him, slips himself around the outside, the long way around on that chicane there. Not the kind of thing that Jenson will want to see at all. And, you know, it's a frustration. button, keeps his head down, keeps trying to get the job done. But after last weekend, where they had the low downforce, a little bit more progress is made. Come back, downforce levels go up, cars out of balance again.
And we also saw a very impressive performance from Adrian Sutil, certainly in the first part of the race. Are the spikers set to move up from the back of the grid?
Well, it looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, beginning of the race, he was making some huge progress. I think he got up to P12, looked very strong indeed. The only thing with Sutil, as much talent as there is there, just makes a mistake now and again, and that's quite costly in terms of the end result come the end of this race.
OK, final thoughts on the run into this championship. And Martin suggested in commentary that this second half of the season is becoming tough for Lewis because the pressure is on, things just not flowing as they were in the first half of the season.
I think it just shows the depth of Alonso. He's been in this position before, he knows what it takes, he's got nothing to lose. Lewis sits there, he's been there since the third race of this season, leading this World Championship, pressure's building. And I think he may just be, getting to him slightly. Saying that, he could come out the blocks the next race and blow everybody in the weeds, and we've seen him do it before.
And Alonso, despite a rather deteriorating relationship with Ron Dennis, he's going to get the support through the last 3 races as well.
Yeah, and even today we heard a rumour come out that it said that Alonso is no longer allowed to test before the end of the season. Ron Dennis has put us right in that, said that's not the case. So there seems to be equal support between both drivers at McLaren, even at this stage.
3 races to go, all to battle for, and we'll have highlights once again of this Belgian Grand Prix a little bit later this evening. In fact, 10:45 tonight, and that's repeated on ITV4 tomorrow. And there's Rugby World Cup on ITV4 right now. Samoa against Tonga, with France against Namibia to come later. Now on Tuesday we're back with the Champions League, the start of the group games with Porto against Liverpool, that's live on ITV1, Chelsea against Rosenborg, live on ITV4, and highlights of the GP2 race here in Spa, that'll be next Saturday on ITV4. But 2 weeks from now we're in Japan with early morning live coverage of qualifying and the race, plus mid-morning reruns of that vital Japanese Grand Prix. OK, well, McLaren will certainly have better weeks than this last one, and I suppose Lewis Hamilton will have better weeks as well, but he takes a 2-point lead into the last 3 races of this Formula One Championship. But the Belgian Grand Prix, won by Kimi Räikkönen and Ferrari, fair and square and convincingly. Bye-bye.